Hey COSA 2 team, I hope all is well. I know that next week you will be beginning your laboratory activity in Netlab. So I wanted to create this quick video tutorial to help you get started. One of the things I want to highlight is I took the time out to create a class for each and every one of you. And you'll notice some of you are teaching multiple sections. So I have all those sections listed. So this way, from a management standpoint on your end, you can direct your students to said class. And I'll show you a spreadsheet that I'll be sending to all of you in regards to user names and the default passwords. So I just wanted to start off the video with that. So that part is taken care of. I'm going to log in as myself. And for those of you, if this is your first time coming to NDG, you'll notice the URLs right here, cos-netlab.lbcc.edu. So I'm going to log in as myself. Okay. And each of you are the lead instructor for your section. So originally I had created a COSA 2 section where everybody was the lead. So this way no one is stepping on each other's toes from an instructional perspective as well as from a student perspective. So you'll go to schedule the lab for myself, and then you'll locate your section. So you'll notice I'll select my section, and then the lab that you will be working on with your students will be the lab number 6, network management. And you'll see I have quite a number of pods created, so it should be okay. I think there's up to 35 pods in total, so you'll notice that people have different thoughts as far as managing the pods. Some people, you can tell them, okay, you'll assign an actual pod to that student, or some people are like, hey, they'll figure it out once the reservation's made. That pod is taken, and then they can go find another pod. So I'm going to select the very first one, and the closer you get to the red line is the closest reservation you will make in real time. So as you can see, it's 4 o'clock right now. I'm going to give myself a 2-hour window, and that's totally up to you, your recommendation. I think that's the max as far as the maximum length of reservation. So I'll submit that, then I'll hit OK. And then I'll enter the lab. This, depending on time of day, of course, how many students in your class, as far as the initialization of the pod, that may take a few minutes. So this, I feel, would be a great opportunity to connect those terms that your students hopefully have the prior knowledge to in regards to topologies, in regards to devices, in regards to bringing the network infrastructure together, and really analyzing and critically thinking about their design as far as their ideal network setup, how all the pieces coincide with one another. So that would be something, a good strategy to use to fill in that time while they're waiting for their pods to initialize. So as you can see, it takes a little bit of time, and it may speed up. You'll notice my Wi-Fi at the particular part of the house that I'm located, the most quietest, of course, is not at full bandwidth, but we're getting there. Okay, so now I mentioned earlier, here's the topology here, and there's the content. Under the content lab, there's the PDF. If you would like, you could have them download a local copy, and then they can toggle back and forth between tabs as far as following the directions regarding the assignment. Okay, and then I believe I've already sent out where your snippets will be. Just stress another thing that I would reinforce to your students, stress the importance of documentation. And this is part of practicing that very tried and true aspect of IT and in any industry, right? You're only as strong as your documentation. So that's one thing you can highlight. Each of the tabs has the various virtual machines. Okay, so we've got about 3 or so Windows 2008 servers, and then on the back end, you've got two. You have a Linux firewall and then a Linux server here, and then you'll be able to discuss the differences between GUI and command line interface with them, and that's a rich conversation as well as they are completing the lab. I think that's the important part or the important takeaway. Majority of your students will hopefully be able to complete this assignment, but the quality conversations that go into the inner workings of an operating system, what differentiates a server compared to a client, and how is it that a network can really promote productivity in any type of industry or work environment. So that's the interface in itself. Hey, there's a email from, hey, we got some Zendesk training. Awesome. Hey, we're expanding. That's great. So that's pretty much it as far as navigating the interface. And as I mentioned, I will send out a separate email to each and every one of you with Excel spreadsheets listing the various users and the usernames. And let me pop one up really quick so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So who's this? This is for, oh no, that's great. So let's get away from that. Okay, confidentiality. All right, so here's, I was working on William Gailey's, or excuse me, Neil Gailey, his usernames. So as you can see, for his Monday, Wednesday section, it's real simple. COSA 2, Gailey, Monday, Wednesday, and then user 1 all the way up to 35. So you just assign as you wish, start at whichever end of the room. Their default password will be the capital P, the @ SSW0RD. Upon their first login, NDG will prompt them to change their password. Can you please do me a favor just for the sake of management, because there's way more students and way more of you than there is me. And from a time perspective, I really don't have the time to have to reset a gazillion passwords. So emphasize to your students, either have them write it down, put it in their phones, what have you, whatever is the best way that they're going to remember their password, because more than likely, if you're meeting twice a week, they'll be continuing on with this laboratory activity on the second day. I know Neil and JP have sections where they meet once a week, so hopefully that shouldn't be an issue, because for the duration of those 3 hours, I believe that'll be more than enough time for them to complete that activity. So that's pretty much it. So be on the lookout for the email. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of those questions. I hope this helps. I think, as opposed to step-by-step documentation, I think the video goes a long way. So have a wonderful weekend, guys and gals, and we'll see you next week. Take care.